Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie video. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a Certified Zentangle Teacher, and today we're going to take a look at the tangle Betweed. And Betweed is a Zentangle original, so it came from the folks over at Zentangle. And I'm using a 2x2 inch bijou tile. Main purpose I'm using these small tiles is because I want to make this a quickie video, and if I use a larger tile, then that's not going to happen. I'm putting my 4 corner dots in here and creating a border. And this tangle starts off basically drawing an asterisk. So I'm going to start, actually, why don't I start, I'm going to do it diagonal first for a change. So basically making an X, diagonal to diagonal, and then making it going straight. Now what I like to do here is sometimes I will start on that intersection and work my way out, making a straight line, so that way I am ensuring that I am that intersection is clean. Like, only because in the past I have done this where I'm like, oh, I'll make a straight line, oh, and you miss, and it's just makes it, makes one not happy. So Betweed is really it's a neat tangle. This one, so once you have this part done, and so I put this in. I did the frame because this could fit in whatever area of your tangle that you're doing. But you just create that asterisk, so the cross and the cross, and then we start off, and I'm gonna start off on, so just looking at one section at a time, okay? I'm gonna start off on the left line of this, essentially it's a triangle, right? And I don't know that you have to travel all of the way up. I'm going to, though. So you travel up and curve kind of at the top here. And then actually the curve could be a little bit better. And then, we just kind of round off that corner just a little bit. Or just, sometimes I just move my pen back and forth just to add a little bit of thickness there at the end. I usually like to have it be a little bit more curvy, but that's okay. Then, and sometimes, so when I'm doing it this way, the natural curve of my hand goes this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the tile, and then I'm going to work off of the right side. Same idea. And I'm coming down a little bit further, and same idea. And as you notice, I'm not quite to this. I just, as my hand naturally curved, and I stopped right where that other line is. Okay, we're not always going back to that main line. So same thing here, and there, and I'm stopping when I come to the line, and just a little bit, like I said, a little bit of thickness there, and that's it. Nothing really big. I've seen some, that when I have taught this in person, that they put a little ball there. It's nothing really big. It's just a little bit of a thickening of that space, or adding a little weight, as some will call it. Okay, so, and then you were just flip-flopping sides, and going down a little bit further, and so the curve kind of changes. Actually, that doesn't look much like a curve, does it? Okay, so then we have that, and what's fun about this tangle is that oops, that's a lot of weight there, but that's okay. I want this to look like a little bit of weight, or somewhat like a shadow. So I'm kind of evening those out a little bit, spreading it, having it blend in a little bit more. That's the word I'm looking for. Okay, so if one section was kind of that's okay. We've got all of these other ones to do. So same idea. I'm going to trace. And this one I started my curve a little bit earlier, because I wanted to demonstrate that. And then, and like I said, you don't necessarily have to come up the full length, but it is good too. This is kind of like the take off and land concept. So we're using this line as a runway, and then we take off from it and into our curve. And so these can be as, I guess, close together or as separate as they need to be. And it's one of those where if you, as you practice it, you'll kind of make those decisions as you go. And then like this last section, actually, I think I'm going to go back here. I'm going to add another one right here just because I want to. Like I said, you know, the bottom section, when you get kind of towards the end, you can decide, well, where do I want to stop exactly? And then we just keep going around all of the, you know, into each section, flip-flopping back and forth from side to side, which it makes for a nice tangle, especially if you are looking for that relaxation, the, you know, meditation, mindfulness aspect of Zentangle. This is a great one for that because it's the same motion every single time. And I personally like this, the back and forth motion. It's kind of like rocking, sort of. And so it adds, you know, I don't know, sometimes I think of this as just a little bit of extra comfort. I'm going to go back and touch up those lines. Sometimes I think it's better on this little end if you just, like, it's a little swish back and forth. And then just continuing around this, flipping from side to side. And you don't have to necessarily have to move your tile each time. I like to do it, whoops. That's interesting. I just made like a straight line. That's all right. It is what it is. All the way to that side. All right, let's just neaten these little marks. So yeah, see, some of mine are ending up kind of ball-like, because like sometimes I just move my pen back and forth, and while that sometimes works, I don't like the look of the little ball there, because I just, like I said, I want it to be a little bit of weight. All right, let's try this again. Oh, that one came from it's all right. You know, here's what's nice. So, you know, I'm making it sound like I'm doing something wrong. I'm not. So it's like, oh, look at how that one just took off. Sometimes your hand has a mind of its own, and just go with it. It's like, okay, well, there we have it. And because when we're done, it's going to be really neat, because when you know, we so micro look at every little thing, worrying about if we're doing something right or doing something wrong, and the freeing thing of Zentangle is not worrying about that. It's the, well, okay, that was interesting, so let's just continue on. And at the end, if you kind of don't like how something worked out, well, then let's figure out how to make it so you like it. And like this, you know, each section is not exactly the same, but that's what makes it organic. That's how you know this was done by a person, not by a computer. Like, which side, the worst thing you have to remember on this one is which side did I come from last. And we're just about done here. And let's see, maybe one more. All right. Actually, it was one of those, I didn't really need to do the four corners and the grid line, but you know what, that kind of helps. And then if I want to afterwards, I can do something around the outside if I'd like to. And actually, one of the, there they are. A couple of the examples will show when I did this for a class. We kind of, sometimes I'll do more than one tangle in the Tangle Time sessions that I'm doing. And so that's what you will see. So then I would just kind of take a look-see at, you know, what I did. Like I said, I'm just going to spread some of these out. Again, using this kind of a technique called rounding. So we're just rounding off these edges a little bit. This one is really interesting. It's all right there. Like I say, I want them to blend in, but you know, at some point you just can't worry about, because that one looks like is a little bit of a blob, but that's okay. adding that weight kind of, it's almost like shading, sort of. It's not just, it's a thick part of the end. It makes it look like it's a weave. All right, so now for shading on this. And there's two ways to do this. This way, we did this in the asterisk, so we're doing this in a triangle. You can do this in just a column as well. So don't always feel like you have to do it in a triangular shape. You could just have, and I'll show that in an example in a second here. So there's a couple ways to shade this. This one, let's see. I think I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to add... I'm going to add some, I'm just putting some on these lines. I'm not actually going in the middle. I'm kind of starting from, here's that first curve line. So I'm kind of going about halfway is what I'm feeling like at the moment. Sometimes I think, well, how do I want to do this? And then and then I'll go to where I can, like this, I could do, I was thinking I could do all of it, but I thought, well, let's just see what this looks like first, because I can go back and put the graphite all the way through. And actually, so with this, I want graphite a little bit on both sides. So I'm just doing my little circles. Actually, I'm going to do it this way, because I don't necessarily want it going outside. Yeah. Oh, and this one I went up a little far. And so when I do that, then it's like, okay, well then we might just continue that path. But I'll have enough graphite left on the tortillon to, pull that up into that center. It's kind of neat to leave the center open. And I actually have an example, so I will show you what that looks like. And what the heck. I'm just pulling it because it's like the graphite's already there, and this kind of also neatens it up a little bit. So it's like, if it's already going, just have it continue. Versus, because it was kind of like I have this little blob here, and I'd rather not have that. I'd rather have it look continuous. All right, so that adds some shape. It adds some roundness. So here's some examples. This one went dark in the center. And then, again, this is essentially what I did here. I just thought, well, I'll do something a little different. Not so dark in the center. But this one I went darker in the center and then brought the graphite out. And went a little bit darker so it adds even more of a curve. This one, I added, because these were far enough apart, I added a little bit of graphite. Well, let's see. One line... almost every other. So this line, this line, this line. I added some graphite. Again, so it was like almost one. Yeah, because I didn't put it here. That would just make it, you wouldn't be able to see it. It would just make the whole thing dark. So again, here, here, and here. And that gives it a little bit different dimension. Get them next to each other. Than this one. And it just depends on what you want, what you feel like. And then leaving the center completely open and making sure. So I started off with graphite on that underneath that first curve line all the way around, and it's really neat. Now here, this is a tenor clef because I play bassoon and we play in tenor clef. Oh, good. No, I was worried about the glare because it's you can sort of see it. So this one I did here, and so I did it essentially in a column, and I feel I went with the shape here of this sort of like a C, and actually I did it both ways in. So my center is here. I started here, went one direction, and then I did it the opposite direction, and so that gives a really, really neat look as well. So just a couple different ways to utilize this tangle. If you enjoyed this video, would love to have you give it a thumbs up down there, and say if you have any questions, comments, feel free to leave those in the comment section, and I do try to answer them as quickly as I possibly can. And in the description box, I don't know if it's a box, not really a box, in the description section, I will have a link to the step outs, so you'll have those instructions as well as ways to connect if you so wish. And I think that's about it. So thanks for watching, and I wish you happy tangling.